find that they're... I know, I'm going to fix it.
Talking.
To their vehicles. Most of these cars in here will belong to employees.
Vehicles. Or
Yeah, I know.
this guy.
There you go. I'm going to hand that off to you too. All you need to do is tell me what colors you see out of it. So, always... Just let me know what colors you're seeing, because I already have the colors memorized as to like what the measurement of that is. So that way it's nice and easy. You don't have to try to read it. Just tell me the colors, and they'll light up. So, welcome to your technical first space. What is this place? It's a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. It's a parking lot. That's supposed to be a joke, man. You gotta like that. So, this used to be something. Of course it did. This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansions. Their mansion sat in the front of this space where all those cars were parked, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Charleston I usually throw out because you're listening to Charleston radio stations. But I'm glad you heard something, so that's good. Her garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, which is pretty much adjacent to where the opening is, where we just came in. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's kind of the layout of the land. So who the heck were these people? By the way, spirit box and communication people, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. I'm going to be withholding information on purpose. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. That's why we look for secondary clues, so we know which Chuck we're chatting with. Now, that's the reason why I love to point that one out here, because it's fun to do. Chuck and chatting, you know. Sorry, English guy. But anyway.
Question real quick. What kind of horses do they use in that barn?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay. Morgan's?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I couldn't tell one from the other, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Unless it's Clydesdale. It's the only difference I know.
Okay. I just wondered.
City
I
boy.
just
Sorry.
wondered. I'm
from the north, so again, we didn't have a whole lot of city or a whole lot of horses.
This has been kind of jumping around like 21.4.
Oh, 21 is good. So those are the numbers I need to know. Just so you know, the average spike here is like 18 to 22, and you and I are going to talk more about what those readings actually mean once I separate everybody out. So you had a 21 and a half. That's good.
Yes.
All right, so the son and the nephew, Charles and Charles, both signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. We're not going to be talking politics tonight. Let's talk about Eliza. She has a much cooler story. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. If we're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, we're not going to get numbers like 12 and 14, just so you guys know. Think of today's standards. The reason I say that is because her husband was over double her age when they married. Definitely a creepy age gap in the 1700s, definitely a creepy age gap now. But anyway, she married him because her father was over in England, and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he could see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. Instead, she stays put, she gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. You get married because you're in love. And there was no foul play, no affair, nothing like that. So don't poke the bear. We're talking about a prominent English woman here. Anyway, she was correct. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue jeans blue. Some of you guys are wearing it tonight. So that's how we use it, but she didn't know what to do with the seeds when she got them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep them cultivated. It's not always hot here. When she figured it out and experimented with it here, she moved it to a cash crop plantation just south of here and got a hold of her dad and said the rice plantations are like plummeting in pricing, that we're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why everybody's here. So, exactly. Yeah, you guys focused on that. That was good. Nobody fell asleep. That's good. So, I'm going to kind of go through each set of spirit boxes and communication devices and kind of give you a set of questions to focus on. In the event that you're not getting answers based on your spirit box or communication device, by all means, cherry pick off of another set of questions that I gave to somebody else. The reason I do it this way is that way we're not all asking Eliza the exact same question. I like to, and these are common questions that we get the answers to. So, Brooke, we're going to start with yours. So, yeah, that's only because you're to my left. So,
My name is Eliza, my first name is Elizabeth.
okay, her full name was Elizabeth as well. So, just went by Eliza. That should be very good. Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral?
Like right now?
Well, once I spread you guys out, I'm just giving you the focus questions. Becky, with yours, your device is very unique in its own right. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about Eliza. The one we just talked about is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So technically there's 3 Elizas. This one, and then the 2 wives of Charles. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So figure out which Eliza we're dealing with by asking what her maiden name is. Which, by the way, the first wife died in January of 1744. 5 months later, he marries the one we just talked about. So same year, death, then new marriage. Kind of keep that in mind. You can also ask like the marriage question. Like that's a good one for your device as well.
Leah.
I know. I'm thinking of which set of questions to give you, since you're kind of having a hard time with it. Let's go after what happened to the mansion. How about that? It's obviously not here anymore. So you can ask what happened, and then when did that happen? So it's a very specific date. So we can get that in all digit format. We can get it in the month, like the name of the month, like January, February, or you know what I mean? Like it can come in a number of different ways. So obviously numbers are going to be a big deal for you.
Okay, so you want to know where it went?
No.
Okay.
Well, it's just not here. So what happened to it?
Oh, okay.
So it's obviously some type of tragedy. So again, it's kind of like was it a flood? Was it the earthquake? Like what actually happened to the mansion?
Okay.
And then when did that happen?
Okay.
So like those are the 2 main things that we're going to go after. As far as cherry picking, the only other thing is really the children. So if you want to know about the children, ask how many children Eliza had and what their names were, but don't poke any more questions. The reason why is there's a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear, all activity will stop, including the EMF readings we're already getting. So again, kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Again, it's a very prominent English woman, very respectful in this location, please. Otherwise, it's going to be a dud of why we're here. So again, we're not going to spend a ton of time here. I'll be honest, like part of my new route of what I was trying to do was to retire this location because we were getting some negative responses from some people that were being disrespectful. So again, it was happening for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was like, maybe I should just retire the Pinckney Mansion site and be done with it. So I kind of gave it a rest for a few weeks, but when we came back, as long as I keep it nice and short, it just seems like we get the answers we need and we can move on. So again, let's just be respectful. I'm going to keep you behind so I can show you how to use that motion sensor. Everybody else, let's spread out. Do not go in between vehicles. And we got plenty of space, surprisingly, for a Friday evening, especially Black Friday weekend.
I'm sorry about you, but while you were talking about the children, it jumped up to like 5 and 6.
Okay.
And it kind of held there.
Good.
When you were saying,
So that's kind of should be a motif of let's keep it, very respectful.
Yes.
Especially as soon as I mentioned them, something kind of spiked up.
Yes.
But yeah, let's spread out. If you want to ask these questions out loud, by the way, do so. If you're not comfortable doing that, focus on those questions. Whatever you're comfortable with.
What were the questions for me again? I'm sorry.
For death. Age, where, why, what president.
Okay.
Got it?
That was the first word that came up here, but we were over there.
No, it's called
No.
bleed over. So we will get certain terms that are even relative to the Big Red Barn or Big John's. We're still close enough, even though it's in time and space, because we're talking 2 different centuries, right? We still could get things relative to Big John over here. It does happen. So again, you have the word president. I'm not convinced yet. So again, I want the president name in front of me in order for it to be convincing, if that makes more sense. President's a good clue, but again, that would be a first clue. And even though we have some good EMFs, 21.5 is nothing to sneeze at, especially where there's no electricity anywhere. So again, keep that in the back of your brain. So definitely, I'm waiting for which president it actually was to be popping through one of your spirit boxes. So it should be very interesting.
and I got
You got EAL.
EL for
Yep. And that
Eliza.
we cleared it over there.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's weird.
sure
Yes.
did.
So I will tell you, the first night we were using that, keep in mind, this device is brand new. We're teaching the ghost how to use it still. We had Eliza's name spelled out in an anagram with an added letter. It was E-U-L-Z-I-A. So it looked like Yulzia. So we had all of Eliza with an added U. I was stoked because, again, to have those letters consecutively with just an added U in there, I was pretty happy with that. Now, have we gotten other full names spelled out? We have. Is it on a nightly basis? Not necessarily. So again, your device, that one's kind of a hit or miss. We never know what's going to pop out of it. But I am going to keep you behind while the rest of you start to spread out. I'll be with all of you in just a moment. You're already recording right now.
Just different places, just stay up there. Who you said the garden part was over this way, or the garden?
Garden was lined up with the church people.
Uh-huh.
It just came all the way across, and this actually went past this median that we see now. So, like, we're standing in the servant slave quarters, but it went back a little bit
I
further.
got a 31.2 right just stand.
That's awesome.
That's what I was thinking. If it's garden area, that's where you'd think it would be really hot at, you know.
Well, we get hot spots.
I think that's cool.
I want to keep it because I don't want to write down a whole book of numbers. We're going to keep it as long as...
He's going to talk. That's what he's going to talk to. No, stick with him.
Yellow.
Did you ask the question? Did you ask that question? What happened to the... What did it say? Did you hear it? Let me listen to your thing with you. I'll listen to it. You got that?
Green.
You were supposed to. Never mind.
Green. Yellow. Green. I'm getting hits. Green and yellow.
Oh, you supposed to all of those in? I don't think so. That's how she is.
Green and yellow?
Yeah.
So the yellow is normally where I start to make disbursement.
I got it hit yellow twice. This time they hit green and it got yellow and that's when I asked what happened.
That means it's not coming from anything else. Yeah, you're in an area where there's no electricity. If you're standing next to that electrical pole over there and you've seen it go way up, I would say, okay, it's the electrical pole. But right now over here, there's nothing over here for that thing to go on.
I whispered because of what happened first.
Not easy at all.
It is. It's really hard. You gotta look at this or the
Right.
like.
And then you're trying to listen to me at the same time.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Right. So again, whatever you hear out there, when you hear, like you heard the word Charleston, or like in loud and clear, right? That's exactly what you will do. Your earthquake coming from loud and clear after you asked what happened to the mansion. It wasn't an earthquake, by the way. I'm just giving you that as an example. That would be, I would still write it down because you had a direct answer. If that makes sense.
I don't know if I heard this right. I said how many kids you have. I think I heard 12.
It's not 12, but 12 is actually a relevant number to this location.
Get on one side of me. Get on this side of me.
Turn around to the side of me.
Does anybody named Alex have anything to do?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go this way.
Hang on. Hang on.
Just to try to listen to that.
Hang on.
It's not, again, like I was just telling you, it's not an easy task to do. Listening
All right.
like that and trying to listen to it at the same time.
Go slow. Go slow. Go slow.
Okay. What happened to the mansion?
Ask the question.
I'm sorry, what happened to the mansion?
What happened to the mansion? Where did it go?
When did it happen?
What happened to your mansion?
We're so sorry.
Where did it go? Did they tear it down?
Was it a hurricane? Don't point it at cars when I can remember. Or this guy.
I heard 3 stories. I wonder how tall the mansion was. Well, I wonder how tall the mansion was.
That's not cool. What?
Nothing.
What happened to the next one? It's like a huge sauce that I can't eat it out. Oh, I forgot. Where did you?
cameras. It's not always a in the moment type find, so that's why I'm not always following up with the cameras.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, nice slow movements out of there.
I haven't seen anything. As far as seeing anything, I did kind of put it on my people for a while, so I kind of understand. I better understand what I'm seeing, looking at.
Yeah, and again, this light is only going to reflect off of objects.
Right.
So if there's an object there that we can't see, it's going to see it for us.
Right.
It's just the way our eyes work. We just can't see that light on our own. But again, it's an interesting camera, and that's a whole new setup. We had an older style camera. We had some old style lighting coming off of it. It just wasn't fitting the bill for me. Too much glare. The camera would falter. This one is a lot more sturdy, and the lighting with using the LEDs is a lot.
It's cool. I like it. I think it is cool.
Keeps the glares out. And you'll see that when you guys get your full video back.
Do you ever catch much on this yourself as far as that? Get anything like really cool?
Yeah.
Later?
Second night, third night, I think it was, that we used that guy. Biggest orb I ever caught. And it was intelligent. So it was coming at me like this, and then went up and around.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
I'll show you that
Very
later
good.
on when we're at that
Yeah,
screen.
that'd be good. I'd like to see that. Thank you.
All right, guys. Come on, bring it on back. Come on, Leah.
It's cool down through here, though.
This is one of my most favorite places in Charleston. I love it down here.
This is awesome. What is this called to you?
This is Philadelphia Alley.
Philadelphia Alley?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. This is what they call the Philadelphia Alley. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
they probably mentioned this on your guys' carriage store.
Well, I've heard about it. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what this was. Awesome.
All right, what terms and phrases are we getting? What'd you hear that was funny?
Yellow.
It's a derogatory term.
That's okay. What'd you get?
It's
It's a very
What's it
bad
start
term.
with?
Very bad term.
You heard the F-bomb out of there?
Oh no.
Spell it.
I don't think I can spell it.
Oh boy.
You're leaving
I was just saying we're in the South.
It starts
you
with
know.
an N.
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha.
Interesting.
And the mind going.
That's
Heard
weird
something
that
about
you're...
location.
Steady yellow.
Yeah, steady and rhythms are usually coming from something man-made. So normally we don't have anything over here, which is weird that you're getting anything. Now, the numbers and colors you guys should have pretty much been ignoring on the way here because of the crosswalks and the parking meters. All the electrical lines for that are underneath the sidewalks, especially the crosswalks. They're really bad. That's where she was going nuts with, I got a yellow. Did you get any words that popped up out of your word device there?
I'm steady yellow.
Yeah, that's got to be coming from something nearby. It's weird. We don't normally get anything down here. I'm going to take note of it, but again, the fact that it's that steady, I mean, it's not even flickering. Like, that's very odd. Becky, you got any words coming out of yours?
Drawer.
Drawer?
And then feedback, sacrilege.
Sacrilege, yeah.
Stay down.
Check, coin, medal.
Okay. Alright, well, welcome to Philadelphia Alley. It looks like right now we actually got the whole place to ourselves, which is kind of nice. If other teams are going to be coming down here, other tours, we're just going to split the seas for them and let them go where they're going to go. This place used to be called Dueller's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston, which is why every ghost tour comes down here. It's pretty much like, look, here comes one now. It's pretty much why every ghost tour comes down here. We all tell the same story, but you're ghost hunting. You're going to get different details out of me than you would out of them. Here's how this story goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves down here because, well, by the way, his name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl and that's the lyric you hear, it's not coincidence. We get it here all the time. Now, he moves down here because his fiancée, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money. The camera's on your right. You might want to stop your video. Yep.
Huh?
The camera
Like
is...
this way?
Yep. Always on your left.
I mean, it'll look fine that way too.
It will, but it'll be upside down on your recording. So stop
Really?
your video. Yep.
Okay.
And then start it back up again.
Alright, gotcha.
Amanda just inherited all this money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after her cash flow. As he's coming into town, a coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. He just graduated medical school, he looks like he has money, so somebody set him up. Somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because you're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. So we have RI, even before the Ouija board device, we would hear it on different spirit boxes, including the word list. It would be just RI, the letters. So, two different characters, secondary clues needed, just so you guys know. Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. He's got a gunman inside. You can rent a room from some friends of mine at 59 Church Street. So, you can stay there and you'll be safe and good to go. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't just after Amanda's cash. So, he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because Amanda gets wind of this and she's moving down soon. Now, every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. I'm going to guarantee it. There's actual proof of this one. We're going to get to that. So, Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other. Why? The doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So, they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they went to go see Richard III from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was here in town. I see that. Dr. Ladd thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island, and it gets pretty ugly, and they go their separate ways. We're going to let this girl pass through the middle of us.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
So they go their separate ways after this little argument. I told you Ralph has friends here. He goes to see his friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the newspaper ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all. Somebody's going to die, right? So they come down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel, by the way. Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, but he drops to the ground, and Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off. Dr. Ladd's friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies either 10 or 4 days later, depending on which version of the story you're reading. But it's after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember that this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out the bullet, the lead poisoning, for himself. So, keywords here that you guys often get on your spirit boxes. Obviously, 59 and Church are big ones. That's the address where the doctor lived. Brown is a big one. We get that one here a lot as well. RI we talked about. Kneecap. I've even had the term brass pan show up. That is a part of a dueling pistol revolver. So again, it's one of those pieces. I'm not a gun person, so even if I misquoted that, again, I'm not a gun person. I had to look it up. Like, what the hell does brass pan mean? But other ghost tours will tell you as you walk through here, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Now, we're using my voice recorder tonight, so if there's going to be anything, it'll show up on our voice recorder. If you're going to walk all the way through here without me, because I can't take you all the way through, and I'm going to explain why in a minute, because yes, I've been kicked out of here. That's the funny part of the story. I'm going to get to it. Now, turn on your voice recorders, listen to it later. Keep in mind, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street from the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. I have to pass the alley every night after I meet with you guys. My garage is right by that Scotchman convenience store, so I have to pass the alley. I do it every night, especially since I got kicked out of here. Let's talk about how I got kicked out. That's the fun part. Oh, by the way, you guys hear how quiet it is right now?
Yeah.
It is like this on a Saturday afternoon down here. Don't ask me how or why, but it's part of the whole mystery of the story. It is always this quiet. They also say you can hear gunshots, but I don't have any proof of those gunshots, just so you know. I do have some very faint whistles, and I'm like, that's definitely not a local walking by. So, you know a whistle when you hear one, right? So, here's how I got booted out. The interesting thing is that it actually happened on Black Friday. Here's how this goes.
I heard Friday up here somewhere, but anyways.
It's okay. We'll see if the actual numbers of that specific date comes up. This alley didn't come all the way through. It's actually blocked off about halfway between us and the Cumberland Street over there. The reason why is because this is where they held the livestock for the city of Charleston. That means those bricks down on that side, they're older. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child at the end and fingerprint swipes. Sun-dried means those kids basically had to turn those bricks every hour to make sure that every brick was baked the proper way. They weren't put in an oven. Now, everybody wants to try to go around that handprint brick and try to get a reading out of it. And I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. November 26th of 2020, my entire team decided that they were going to try to get a reading out of that brick. So they're all huddled around it, waiting for something to happen out of a spirit box or an EMF detection. And I'm trying to scurry them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was still new at touring, and I didn't know all my boundaries yet. Well, that new gentleman come out, and he started screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour that night. I worked in retail, as you guys all know. I am never working another Thanksgiving for the rest of my life. I worked for Walmart, by the way, for most of the good many of those years. Now, the next day after that was November 28th, Black Friday. I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway, like what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. I didn't think it was fair for my group of 10 to be working around the 20 to 60 people that are normally down here. So I decided I'm going to tell the story up there by that white building, and we're going to reroute, which means I had to learn a whole hell of a lot about the story at the next location that I didn't even believe in. And I told my team, I don't know much, and I'm not a pirate person. I'm a vampire guy. We're going to see what happens. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them we were going to be investigating the famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I was like, oh shit, maybe we are going to get something. We get up there, I told her a little bit I did know about piracy. Somebody else hears the number 300 on another spirit box. I don't know what that means in real time. So the next day I'm doing the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial.
Wow.
So I have read more damn books on pirates trying to piece together a factual investigation on pirate lore as I possibly can. Be grateful I have a master's degree in creative writing. Because again, everything we're going to be discussing at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources, just to try to verify the information. So it's a very hit or miss location. When I say hit or miss, we're either going to have a lot going on or nothing going on. It's just that type of space because Anne is said to be seen all over the place. We got a group coming, so you might not want to put your camera here. No, again, it's a very weird part. Yeah, you don't have to hide it. Just don't
No, I'm just moving over to it's that point in this.
Good evening, folks. How are you?
How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
So, before we leave, the gate behind me, remember that the alley didn't come all the way through this way. This was a shortcut to get to the cemetery with the loser of a duel. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down the Queen Street, make a right, and loop around with a dead body, with dead weight. So again, not a whole lot of people know why this gate is actually here. The wrought iron wasn't here. The wrought iron is more than likely early 1900s. So, but the doorway obviously was here. So again, I just like pointing that out because not many, even other tour guides even know what that, this was actually here for. The gate is there now because it kind of segregates the line of properties, obviously. So St. Philip's versus Philadelphia Alley. Anything that you guys may have heard or seen on your devices before we move on?
I heard something about John.
John, it's good.
Is everything a witch? That's what came up here.
No.
Just like the shorts.
Just this has been staying on that yellow.
That yellow. Yeah, I gotta write that down too, because that is definitely odd for this location.
I mean, it's been steady like. Well, when I move it, oh,
No, they'll come back to the here. When you point it behind you, it go off completely. Just about stays off.
no.
No, it didn't. No, right this way there. Because I pointed right here earlier. Just when you come back on, I turn around, it come on. I'm like, wow, nothing behind us, all in front
Oh,
of
you
us.
had the envoy.
I had it off because I was trying
Very
to
good.
Right there, it's gone.
See, nothing.
focus on you.
All right. Let's
When
go
you turn
about
back,
some crazy
so
content.
when she faces there, it goes all the way off. But if she turns back, it comes on.
What's always about what's around it right here.
Okay.
Like that's what it's reading. So whatever's around it right here, this is what's making it go off. It's not where she's pointing it. It's
Okay.
matter where in space it actually is.
All right. So now, like right there, it's all black. I mean, just
It
out.
was steady right here, and now it's not.
No.
So weird. Again,
I know,
that's
it's
a
just
weird thing
green.
for that device.
All right, go
And
back
now
there.
look, it goes
Okay,
steady,
Especially for a steady thing.
steady.
All right.
Must be coming with us.
Have you heard anything else? Words or anything?
I'm trying to listen to the story and listen to
No, no, I'm talking about when we're walking or whatever. You don't hear anything much? Like you hear clear words every now and then, not like a clear word. Like I said, I heard it's real and Morgan. You hear words clear like that, right? Like clear words. No.
I can't hear the story and listen and
I know.
talk.
I know. Okay.
Can't.
You still got both plugs in or just one? Both?
Hmm?
You got both in?
No, because I was trying to
Well, it's
listen.
still out. Come on, let's catch you up.
Scary.
I do.
You don't mess
I'd cut mine off about halfway up the street. I turn mine off and cut it back on.
Looks like you're having trouble. You got my logo on there?
It must have went off. Yeah.
I know that green from anywhere, man. My wife, she went to school for graphic design and photography. She designed the logo from scratch. And anytime you guys have pictures or whatnot that I can't make out what's going on, it goes straight to her. She'll tell me exactly what's going on. Anything weird along the way here while I'm waiting for this to do that? Shot? We'll take it. That's a good one. The name John that you heard earlier is relevant here. So again, bleed over. You're going to realize that one here as soon as that one pops up.
I just heard that word treachery.
Yeah, I wrote that down. That's good too. Perfect. All right. Welcome to the Gunpowder Magazine. We're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there. The reason I bring this over here first is because other tours like to cut through here. I just like to stay out of their way, let them do their own thing. So, by the way, those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're unfamiliar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake, like what we mentioned at the beginning, which we haven't, by the way, you can turn those turnbuckles slowly, day by day, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. And the only reason I bring it up is because it's the reason why we're here. Those were the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in because that is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. This building was here at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start a new life. Follow me, there's a lot of twists on this story. It's female pirates. Put your imaginations to work, everybody. First off, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
No, not at all. So, 1708 is where the story begins, right in the middle of its construction. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. And you have shot. I'll take it. So, we're also talking pirates. So, but anyway, the mistress, her father's mistress, is her mother, by the way. You guys follow me on that one?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Anne is here with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mom. The three of them are running away from Ireland to here to get away from her father's angry wife. Okay, everybody's got that he had an affair and had an illegitimate child. Got it. So, Brooke, did you catch that one? You didn't say a word the whole time. Good. We're recording it for you. You got it. So, it's part of the reason why we record everything. So anyway, they land in Georgetown, just north of here, between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means she has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland is kind of a badass. When she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember, pirate lore, can't get an exact age on this one, they say she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. So again, knife and belly have shown up here in the past, and it kind of gives you the mentality of this young lady. Let's fast forward. Building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through Charleston in 1715. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with. Yes, I said first because there's a handful, and we are going to go through them. Guy number one is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going, right? Dad didn't approve, filthy pirate. They go to Jamaica, they get married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for, because every young lady wants a Captain Jack Sparrow, right? No, she's a you didn't see that, but I saw it. So, at any rate, this guy is a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This is not who she wants. She falls in love a few years later. John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Calico Jack is literally the person that they based your Johnny Depp character off of for your Disney movies. So is this Captain Jack Sparrow that she wants? Absolutely. This guy has his own ship and wants to be part of it. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? They're bad luck. Think family-friendly fun, everybody. I saw the wheels spinning. Everybody looked down like, wow, that's a dirty question. Now, he makes a deal with her, though. If you dress like a guy and look like my crew, you can be part of it. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's go. We're all adults here, most of us. Let's put two and two together. Being a female in his quarters, which is what the agreement was, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have, well, she's going to get pregnant, right? So you can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure it out that she's a female, and they're all going to know that Jack let her on the ship. So before she starts the show, Jack drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She's okay with this, and she goes and has a baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. No amount of my research can figure out what the hell happened here.
Wow.
The significant part of the story is that she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry, because now everybody's going to know that he let a girl on the ship. So, while she was away giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. To make Jack even more mad, she's going to go flirting with that pirate crew. That's who Anne is. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a male, to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females trying to do the exact same thing. This young lady's name is Mary Reed, just like you read a book, same spelling. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for certain. But the British, they found out where they were, and they sent an entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary, rumor has it, were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a fleet of ships. They get arrested. And as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot, by the way. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back by themselves. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone 2 days prior. The 2 ladies go in front. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and he doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they screamed out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed died a year later in a Jamaican jail, wherever the judge sent her, in that Jamaican jail. So again, use your imagination. Again, most books will tell you that it was fever and something very, kind of cushy. Not the fever, something easy to die from, but think of scurvious, nasty, bumpiness kind of things going on. Make it romantic for yourselves. I'm not going to give you a whole plethora of questions like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. We are going to spread out in this area. And again, we're going to meet up by that wall in like 5 minutes, because again, this is hit or miss. We're going to know almost immediately. We have the name John, we have shot, we have pistol, like we have some good things going on, but I don't know if the shot and pistol are relative to duelers out. So again, we kind of almost need a secondary clue. But the 2 questions I left out are the names of Anne Bonny's parents, that's the father and the mistress, and I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose, just so you guys had something to work with. So, let's spread out. Do you have anything else weird? Minority. Well, I will also tell you that most pirates were slaves. You've got to remember what pirates took. Cargo. Slaves were cargo. So they gave them an option. Minority. So again, it would have been, do you want to become a pirate and be part of our crew, which is extra hands for the captain, or we can send you along and you can go be a slave and then do Americans. So again, most of them would have taken them up on, let's be pirates. I'll stay away from my family so I don't have to die and be enslaved. So kind of take that for what it's worth. We do get the word slaves here a lot. The word minority is kind of a stretch, but it kind of gives me a, hey, this is what could it be kind of mentality. We're going to be passing by the front of the powder magazine when we go to our next location, so we are definitely going to stay within kind of like this lot and see what the questioning is going on. Have you heard anything? You've been like...
The only thing I heard was car accident. But there weren't cars, so...
No, but the word accident is there too. We'll see what comes up. Maybe we have the word baby showing up somewhere. So it could have been something, an accident with the baby, like a, stillborn or something along those lines. So we don't know. All right, let's get these things cranking and let's see what we can get out of this location. So again, hit or miss on this one. Matt's like, I got
You do this one,
see how good of a video.
Huh?
You want me to listen to you for a little bit?
Yeah, you want to go this way?
Yeah, where you want to go stop for a little while? Let's go over here. Right here.
You got your camera on?
Yeah, I got it on. Where's your other earbud?
Which side do you want?
Hey,
Take this
you
one
got
'cause
both
of
of them
the-
in? Are you wearing both of them at one time? What are you doing? Towards your elbow. There you go.
No.
I can't get a hold of it. I got it. What's that? What's that?
It's my earbud.
Yeah. Turn it up a little bit.
Jack. Maybe?
Yeah, I heard Jack.
What's your mother's name? What's your mother's name? I heard Jack.
You heard Jack?
Mm-hmm.
So we have John and Jack.
No, I had to hear John. It's just Jack.
Well, she heard John earlier.
Oh, did she? Oh, that's right. She did.
His real name was John.
Oh.
It was
Oh.
John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack.
Okay. That's right. Okay.
I that didn't even dawn on me, the Calico Jack thing. Cause
Yep.
it must
That's why you
have-
guys keep me around.
Yeah, I just heard the word. I just heard just Jack. It's just
Yep.
Jack. That was it.
I asked what the mother's name was.
Oh yeah, you wanted to see footage.
Yeah.
Where you're listening in. Let me find it. It's at this location, which is why I was waiting to come here. Anytime I have like super awesome evidence, it always goes to my evidence folder on Facebook because that's kind of like advertising for me. So this is over there by that wall. So you're gonna be looking right over here.
Where am I?
It's coming. You'll see it.
Oh, that.
Oh, look at that. Check that out.
Yeah, and that was like the second or third night that we had
Is
it.
that you standing there?
Yeah.
Did it come to? And went
Came
up?
right up to me.
Wow. Wow, that was a big orb too.
It
wasn't no
was.
little
That's the
dot.
biggest one I've ever had.
That was a big orb. Yeah,
This
usually
one-
you don't see that big.
You can't mistake that for anything.
No.
Now this one is going to be. Come on. It's going to be down in this corner. Nope, I don't want to. Stupid. I hate Facebook. I hate it. It's hiding it at this point. It's going to be real. Son of a bitch.
Oh, yep, across the
That was
bottom.
wicked cool.
Yeah.
So it's got to start in the frame for me and end in the frame. So one or two or both of those things like have to happen. If it comes from outside the frame, I automatically discount it, especially if it goes, comes from outside and goes outside. It's usually an insect. But when I have like a speed of light that looks like that, and it originated in frame and left frame.
And it was in the brick, like at the bottom of the
Yeah.
brick.
Yeah, it's like across the bottom, low one on that one.
Yeah, it was
cool.
probably about shin high.
I tell you, it's cool though. The other one,
that's
you got the
why.
wall though. That is killed that first one. Really killed. That's a good one. It's slow.
Yeah,
Did
and that's
anybody
slowed
catch
down.
that?
Not in
Until-
real time, because that's these videos are both slowed down. So
It's just,
like that
yeah.
one that came across the wall, like it came through pretty intelligently, but I added
Yeah.
fancy music to it and all kinds of goofiness so I can have
Tell
fun.
you that.
Well, yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
just one of those.
Well, I
I
tell
gotta
you-
advertise.
It's like it come to see you. It's like okay, check
Yeah.
him out. and go
17.
on. Yeah. That work's really cool. I think those are really cool though.
But yeah,
A
that's
lot
the
of
reason why
stuff's
we have
really
that camera out.
unexplainable. How are you about the UFO stuff?
They use the same equipment I'm using out here.
You
I
believe
got
you're a
switches.
good believer?
Yeah. It depends on who's doing it though.
Right. I agree
Like
with you.
I'm all about
That's
the
how we
Skinwalker
are.
Ranch show. Like,
We
I don't-
watched the
Yes, I
Skinwalker
was
Ranch
there.
up
Oh,
there,
man.
and a few of the
Now
others.
it's scripted. A lot of it's scripted.
Right.
You can tell, but the equipment stuff, like you can tell, like none of that is.
And the background about it with Bigelow and
Just-
now this other billionaire.
Some things happen, like I said, it does. It
Yeah.
feels like it's occurring
Yeah.
almost.
But they're using all the same shit you guys are using tonight. You know,
I mean, this is
cameras
cool.
And, not
This
so
is
much
so
the spirit
cool.
boxes, but they're using, the EMF detectors, and they have a tri-field meter that they use.
On theirs.
Yeah.
I know at the house we watch the sky all the time. We see them split and everything. That would be.
Mm.
Yeah, we have a
You
lot
guys
of
out in the
activity.
country, nice clear
Yes.
skies.
Yeah, we live about 7.5 miles out of the city,
Oh,
back
yeah.
in the country, and gets pretty dark. My son comes over, my granddaughters, they're in it just as much as we are. They love
We're
it.
sky watchers.
We got little scopes. It's
Well, the
pretty
wife
cool.
and I should probably, because we live pretty far out. Like I live almost an hour inland, and it's you know, it's brand new development out there. So it's not like we have a whole lot. I mean, it's always clear out there. I mean, I'm right next to a cornfield, even though I'm in a suburb.
Right.
It's not like I can't go out to that main road and just set up a telescope and just watch. You know what I mean? And just wait. You know, and I would be the guy to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
probably catch her too.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
would. Because
Like
they're
a
like,
satellite doesn't.
I'm the same way like
Yeah.
a ghost. I don't know why, but the UFO thing, I can tell. She goes, well, I just think they can hear us. I think they got some type of connection.
Oh,
Somehow.
yeah, they're all connected to what we're doing here.
I think they are too. Yeah.
I think so, too.
That's why they're all walking around behind us and they're watching us. We're like a movie to them.
Film over by
Right
there.
now.
Film over there.
I did. I'm going back to it.
All right, Beck,
go.
start bringing your team over to the wall. Let's see what it's captured here.
I want to see what it does on him right here.
She was hot.
He's showing up here.
Oh, I heard Charles.
Yeah. She also heard the number 17, by the way. So I don't know if you guys heard the same 17.
Or 9.
9.
I could have sworn saying I.
Oh.
I heard a big boom.
It'd be crazy. You hear Shanghai, she hears boom at the same time.
All right.
I couldn't hear with that.
Back down. So I'm excited about the name John that you heard earlier because it ties in with the name that you guys heard. What did you hear?
Do what now?
What name did you hear?
Jack.
Jack. Jack, Calico Jack, his real name was John Rackham. So you have the John, she has the Jack. You know what's interesting is I didn't even learn his last name until I think it was last year, 2 years ago when I was researching all of this and somebody said, I just heard Rack of Ham. Rackham is spelled Rack Ham. So I said, you gotta be shitting me. I can't make this stuff up. You guys had a bunch of numbers. I don't know that any of them are relevant. Nothing ties into, you know, my brain of what the numbers are. I think what you guys actually heard. That 17, you guys both heard it. So again, you heard a 17, you heard a 17. So and again, they weren't at the same time. So I don't know what that exact reference is. But that boom is obviously, we're next to a gunpowder magazine that could explode. So again, that's part of it. It's very vague. It's kind of a stretch. I probably won't even add it as being labeled as evidence unless I have something else that goes along with the term gunpowder. What do you have going on with your list?
Like always. I don't know if it had anything to do with,
There's like 15 stories on this corner, just so you know. So when I'm looking at that list, it's not just about pirates and gunpowder magazines. By the way, if you hear clapping at a toy, you know it was a cheesy toy. Just so you know. Anne Bonny, one of the few pictures you can find of this woman with a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. I told you she was a badass.
Wow.
The names of her parents, William
told her.
Cormack, Mary Brennan. None of you were expecting a secondary Mary, because remember we have Mary Reed from the ship. But Mary Brennan was a servant woman. That's a whole nother 30-minute scandalous story that went on between her and Anne's father. So we're not even going to get into it.
Those are mysteries.
Mysteries. It is a mystery. Like, there's not a ton of detail, but again, there's a lot of speculation about her mother. I also like to show you what Calico Jack looked like, and especially since you guys had both of his names show up. And the reason why is because this is who they based Johnny Depp off of. The reason why he's called Calico Jack is because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. Now, Calico Jack's father was a tailor. Textiles were very important to them. So again, stealing the jackets of British captains, that's a pretty big deal. Fancy jacket, Calico Jack. That's where the name comes from. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. I don't necessarily expect the word Kingston to show up on one of your spirit boxes unless it's disembodied, or we have the word King. That would actually suffice. Sometimes we have to mix our own technology with what the message is that's actually coming through. It is a rarity that we even get the word king out of it, so I always still throw it at you no matter what. What I was asking Chris to do with the motion sensor was to ask Anne Bonny what her hair color was. The only way to get that is to actually touch the antenna. The only time I've ever gotten a red reading on command out of that device has been in this location. So again, just take that for what it's worth. And what's funny is I was working with somebody that was struggling with a spirit box and trying to give them a simple answer, like a simple question to ask, so that way they had a one-syllable answer, and the answer came up on this device instead. So I was like, maybe it's just a location. So we were kind of like back in that corner, so we moved all the way to the opposite corner. Same thing, right on command. And I've had other nights where we've had it 10, 12, 14 nights. Again, he's had nothing. So this is a good thing. That's actually a good thing for me because it kind of proves of what was going on in the night that it actually did occur. Again, we don't want to keep reoccurring the same thing over and over and over again in the exact same, I stood right here, this is where it happened. Kind of like what they do on TV and put the blue X's on the floor. Yeah, that's BS. You want to explore a little bit, and you don't want to know everything. That's kind of the whole point. So, again, you guys didn't know the names of her parents or the name of Jack's ship. So I'm kind of glad
And
that
I asked.
asked.
I asked them what her parents' name is.
Oh, well, hopefully we got the answer on somebody's device. Even though we didn't get William and Mary in real time, doesn't mean that it's not there. So that's why we record everything except for your device.
I don't know if I heard this right. I also heard another derogatory term.
Another one?
Yeah, it was WHORE, like whore.
Oh, so Anne, I mean, we're talking about the many lovers of Anne Bonny.
Yeah.
So we will get the term lover here a lot.
They
What's
call
funny
them
is
whores
one of the
and
nights
stuff.
that I'll never forget, I'm going through the data the next day, and at this location, I heard two DJs come through, both female. They're laughing their asses off, and they're saying, they think we're guys. I'm like, guys, I can't make this stuff up. Like, I'll never forget. Before we leave this space and go on to the next location, our last stop, which is the one I don't know everything about, there's another reason why I give that heated warning at the top of the tour. So, been a year ago, this past September, I brought my group to the back before I told them the story, and the kid next to me went white as a ghost. Like, literally, he's about to drop, like faint. So I have to pick him up by his armpit to keep him from hitting his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over to this wall, got him a bottle of water, sat him down, he's feeling better. I then told them the story of Anne Bonny that I told you. And when I spread everybody out with their devices, this used to be my last stop. I said, go have fun, you know, the last stop, have a blast. Now, they pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are two transgender males, meaning I had two females dressed as males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the story. And it made complete sense to them as to why one of them passed out the minute we entered the space. I can't explain it. It's just weird shit that happens in my groups. It's part of that reason. Psychics and mediums normally don't even make it past the Pinckney Mansion site with that high 31 that we had. I've seen it in the past. They drop like wet noodles on a nice cool night like this, and they're not overdressed. So again, these are things I can't explain. I can't tell you how many times I've had to call the paramedics.
They must
Not
have been
fun.
sensitive.
Very sensitive. And I do test pretty much every psychic that claims to be a psychic on my tours.
Yes.
And I will withhold even more information if I kind of pick up that somebody is claiming to be a psychic, just to see what's going on. I will tell you, in the past 2 weeks, I've seen 2 of them. Neither one of them to me are legit. So it is what it is. Now, any other questions about pirates that I might be able to answer? Remember, I've read a shit ton of books. All right. So we're going to go up about 2.5 blocks. So those of you, video taping, you can stop your videos because we're going to be walking for a while.
Okay.
Ignore your readings. You want me to turn off that REM pod because it's going to drive you nuts.
Hold
That's
up.
this guy.
I need to.
Come back. Yeah, it'll drive you nuts.
I just need to fix my sock.
I was wondering what you were doing over there. I thought you were going to take a nap on us.
Yes.
You can ignore your colors and numbers on the way there.
Okay.
So
Okay.
again, we're going to be on sidewalks. So again, ignore those. I'm more interested. It's going to come out of the Ouija board and the word device. Now, the gentleman we're going to be discussing next is a poet, and I am a writer. So that's part of the connection of hopefully why I've been getting as many answers as I have been. But
Most of
kind
all,
of
I
keep
can
that in
hear.
the back of your head. Have you heard anything else before we leave?
Have you heard anything else?
Any other words that you got like kind of
Got a question. Why, like, you go to the top and it's red?
So you have to remember that app is designed to try to scare people, just like your TV shows. It growls and makes all kinds of stupid demonic noises. I turn all that stuff down. It's just part of the effect. But the only reason I have it, I have a paid version, there's a free version of it, is because of the bigger dictionary. The free version comes with 2,000 terms in it, which is the same size as an obelisk. I like to have a big grab bag of shit to sift through, which is why we're recording on the slower speeds.
Both of them
So we just never know what we're going to be able to capture. All right, let's go learn about a crazy poet. What do you think, man? We got to get you to talk more, man. Y'all were taking photographs for us back there.
We're watching this thing.
Anything coming up?
No, sir.
Anything crazy words showing up?
Riley is the name that came up.
What was it?
Riley.
Riley. Did you hear anything? Okay. All right. So as is our last stop. This is where you guys are going to teach me a few things. So there's a number of different monuments around this location. So when the first time I came here, I had no idea what we were going to find. I told the group I was with, let's wing it, let's see what happens. This guy actually sought me out. Here's the cool thing. He gave me his full birth year, his first name, and part of his last name. The bust behind me is that of Henry Timrod. This is the poet. So this is why I bring you way over here on this side. You're in Washington Square Park. So the monument that we passed on our way in is that of George Washington. I will also tell you that the monument for Andrew Jackson's mother is on the exact opposite of the circle. It's a tiny little stone monument about this high. So again, that way in case you guys want to explore the space and go see what's around us. But who the hell is Henry Timrod? This is a very interesting story because this story I actually heard before, but I heard it at a different location, and I was very surprised to find the amount of clues that I did that first night. And we've been getting more and more each night, and I've been coming back. It's normally told at the Charleston Library Society because that's where his collection of his writing is actually held. Here's what happened with this gentleman. He was very sick from a young age. I don't know if he was teenage years yet or if he was in his mid-20s, but he joined the Confederate Army during the Civil War, and his comrades realized how sick he was, so they sent him home, and they said, go be the voice of the war, because they knew he was a poet, meaning go write and tell what's actually happening out here on the battlefield. That's exactly what he did. However, the more he got sick, the more his friend, his collegiate friend that he had, said, you know what, why don't you come spend some time at my cabin and you can, finish writing whatever you're working on, and, you could take things from there. It's 1867. He goes out to the middle of Columbia, middle of our state, and he's sitting at that cottage, and he writes his last words. His last words, beholder of brief mortality. And he coughed, and that cough landed on the page. It's kind of nasty to think about it. However, it was a cough of blood because he had tuberculosis. That stain that he left on the book looks like a man writing. They call it the blood book, and they only show that page out of that blood book one time a year at the Charleston Library Society, and the day is Halloween. Very interesting piece, and I am going to show you the page, but afterwards I am going to read the last stanza of his poem called Charleston that he wrote in the middle of the war, and it makes sense as to why I'll read it, and it's kind of like just stirring shit up, just because I know reading poetry aloud can be boring and dry, but once you realize what the last lines are of that specific poem, it'll make a whole lot more sense of why I chose it. Not only are we in Charleston, but why it's so substantial. This is the page that he coughed on. You can see the line, beholder of brief mortality at the top, and here's the blood clot basically landing that looks like a man writing.
Wow.
So this is the blood book. We have gotten the word blood here in the vast, and we have gotten the term mortality. We keep getting lines from the stanzas that I'm reading, at least little specific key words, which is another reason why I like to read it, because it's very interesting and deep. So let me read that, and then I'll kind of give you a handful of questions of things that we've been getting the answers to without the answers, so that way you're not getting those subliminal messages from me. We know not in the temple of the fates, God has inscribed her doom. Notice he refers to God as a female. And all untroubled in her faith she waits, the triumph or the tomb. Basically, he's waiting to see what's going to happen to the city of Charleston based on what's going on with the war, either for triumph or if they'll fall to the tomb. We've had the word tomb here, we've had the word triumph here, all confirmed, coming from a recordable spirit box. Very interesting pieces that I'm stirring things up. This is a very shy man. I'm going to tell you that he's faced a lot of death. He's kind of like a Poe story in his own right. You all know about Edgar Allan Poe and all the losses that he's had. Same principle here. You can ask what Henry's wife's name is. I did not give that to you. He had a son that was nearly 9 months old when he passed away and is buried right next to his father in Columbia. I did not give you his name either.
Yes.
It is a very specific name. Be very gentle with this man. Again, very shy poet, very short. Like, just think of a small poet guy, very keeps to himself. So again, as we explore the space, we're going to see what happens. We've been getting more and more at this location. I'm not going to tell you the year of his birth or his death, but I will tell you that he was only 38 years old when he coughed on this page that I just showed you. So, young man. again, very sad story. But kind of a cool ending to end with a blood book on a ghost hunting tour, right?
Right.
So, so other tours love to come through here, as I'm sure you guys can see.
Yep.
You guys they're all jealous of you, just so you know. You guys have the gizmos and gadgets, they don't. Chris, your device was going absolutely bonkers at the bench on the left-hand side. If you go like on the pathway on the opposite side of the obelisk, on the left-hand side, there's a spot where it went nuts, but the next night it did nothing. So again, if you want to test that area just to see if I can get anything out of it, same thing. Calvin, with yours, look in those dark corners for me. Let me see what's going on over there when I'm spot checking. And as far as yours, definitely get us a nice scope of, I'm still trying to get a gist on how all of these monuments their temperature affects what's going on around us. So try to get a little bit of footage from all the different monuments that you see, so that way I can kind of see how they work. I'm still learning about that. Because again, remember all the spaces we've been to, there's been no monuments of any kind. So they've all been empty spaces or an alley, that kind of thing. I get those because I've been doing them for years. This one I'm still learning about. And again, the spirit boxes, super key in here. So let's see if we can get those names and any kind of numbers that are going to pop up out of it.
Logan came out. That's not Logan.
Logan?
Logan.
Nope, but I'm still going to look into it to see if there was another college friend of his named Logan. I will tell you that the friend's house that he stayed at, his name was Paul Hamilton Hayne. So we have actually had the name Paul and Hamilton show up here in the past in the same evening. So again, that's another interesting piece too. And that came from an 8-year-old kid that wasn't paying attention to the story. So that now I know it's legit. And again, he had the unrecorded spirit
Kids are
box.
just amazing.
Well, he had both earbuds in, and he come running up to me later. He's like, "I heard the name Hamilton." He was all excited because it must have been from the, obviously the musical. Then he come up to me later. He's like, "I heard the name Paul." I'm like, "Are you shitting me right now, little man?" I'm like, "I gotta get him a job." But yeah, I mean, we had almost the full name, like Paul Hamilton Hayne was. I can't remember if it's Hayne Hamilton or Hamilton Hayne. It's one or the other. But I was pretty excited about him hearing both names out of the same spirit box, and he had no clue what the hell he was listening to, which is cool. So I was pretty stoked. But yeah, let's spread out in here. Stay out of the way of the other tours. Try not to film them. You guys got the gist of this. You're all pros at this point. So
We got it. Let's go. Sit in the dark. Stand in the dark.
What's that guy's name again?
We have to read the statue. He's walking up the other thing. I'm showing him that stuff over yonder. Just listen for names. Yeah, listen. You hear me? Yeah, she's got the same as you do. So hers is recording everything, and yours is just listening to it to see what you hear. That's what he said to tell what you hear. It doesn't have recording nothing. You get just about you're hearing in real time. Hers is also hearing and recording in real time. Because maybe they'll be both recording. Okay? So I just want to hear what you got to say.
Tell me what you saw at the house.
Oh, I didn't find out.
Record him.
I didn't record it. Hang on a second. Where?
I gotta,
Let's go down back around that dark corner, over there. In that dark corner over there. Let's go over there.
Oh my God, I didn't even forgot about this.
He has his pocket.
Look. Yellow. Is anybody here? There is.
What a joy it is. Go this way, come on. Oh, baby.
I got an orange.
Oh, I'm worried about it being stayed there. Yeah, but it'll stay, did it? You got an orange blink out of that there, didn't you?
Yeah. I got an orange. What's his name?
He's down there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Here's that gravestone there. There's that gravestone from us.
Like turning into the perfect cameraman, nice and still. Watch the other tour coming through the Calvary. Watch that other tour coming through. Might like turn the camera down.
Okay. I'll have to come through here.
Yeah.
I hope not. That's what you do. Exactly. Yeah.
I was looking at the numbers to make sure they were still there.
I heard something in a man's voice, but I couldn't make it out.
I mean, you guys get your recording back tomorrow. It's going to be Brooks' recording, but again, I'm going to have markers in there that might not mean anything to the spaces, and that just shows you some of the weird shit that I heard, and it might be relevant to one of y'all.
Okay.
So again, I write it down anyway because it's something I don't normally hear on a radio station, and if it sounds weird to be on a radio station, I definitely write it down. Because sometimes, like, you know, Becky thought something might have been coming through to her directly when way back at Pinckney Mansion. And I told her, I was like, I don't want to know anymore because I don't want to be looking for things like that.
Right.
I was like, so whatever happens, happens.
Right.
So again, so if it's weird and on the list and you think it might be to you, it probably was. So
More than likely be what. Yeah, like I've had a couple of real close friends. I mean, lifelong friends, best friends since I was 12, 13 years old, passed away. one toward the first year of COVID, and the other one retired 2 years ago early.
Okay.
Died, turned 65, died 2 weeks later.
Oh shit.
Nobody know what happened. Just talked to your sister one night and didn't hear from him the next day, and he passed. Don't know whether or not they had a heart attack or what.
There are some nights I'm out here, dude. I get a vet that's on the tour. It doesn't matter what story I'm talking about. They got a buddy that they lost overseas. It's that buddy all night long.
Still with them. So I believe that too. I think they got attachments, and I think they stay. I'm like you. I think they're around all the time. So like my wife's like, well, you know something's wrong. I'm like, this is the Earth, isn't it? This is planet Earth.
Right.
Believe me, they're here. They're watching. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it, at least. I sometimes she's like, you're just too simple. I said, no, I just think
No,
of reality and
it's
believe.
not simple at all.
No, I
If
think
anything, it's
really.
more complicated.
Yeah, that's what I tell her. Shit, I guess why it sounds simple to me, I guess, because I just not, because I got a lot of lack of knowledge. I like to understand a lot more about it. But
I'm gonna test your camera. Come with me. You can keep talking. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
you're fine. I just like what you do. I think it's very interesting. I find it very, very much interesting.
So I got like a stock of a 46 while ago.
That
Wow.
same night, this camera specifically, this light started draining. I use this light every damn night. I've never seen it drain, ever. And it started flickering, like real bad. So we're gonna hang out here for a few. You had a 46.
64 just in, 64.5.
Why am I starting to flicker on my screen like that? Is that normal?
That's it.
I've not seen that all night long at all. This is the first time I've seen it right there.
That's it.
And it's still doing it.
64 and 46, you said?
Yep.
You see that screen?
Mm-hmm. You can go ahead and turn your camera around. You'll see that light blinking. No, turn the camera around so you can see the front. Right here?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was waiting for.
Oh, that
It
pulse.
didn't start till we came over
Yeah,
here.
it's been all over the board. 26,
Oh, it's getting faster.
51.4.
Look at it going now. It's a flickering
Yeah,
away,
this-
boy.
Yeah.
I've got it on his shoulder, but I'll tell you, his things are going.
It was worse than that night. Like, it started flickering even further. Oh, look, another cheesy toy. Did I? Oh, damn, sorry. I'm knocking these other toys. No wonder I got no friends in this industry.
Yeah, you also. We like you, at least.
Yeah, this will be.
You got any crazy terms coming up? Again, this device is a revolutionary piece where we're trying to teach them how to use it, kind of thing. I would go ahead and reset it. But yeah, your numbers are through the charts.
Still going.
With that flickering, again, me and him were just over there chit-chatting. I was like, oh, we need to test your camera, see if we can get it that go again. Again, it's draining it the minute we walk over here. And it's going to be stuck there now because it drained the battery from it.
Yeah, I just watched. I'm like, I watched this all night, and it's been fine. Even just standing talking to you the whole time, nothing. But as soon as I stepped over here and I walked right there, first thing I looked down, I was like, what's this starting
I'm
to flicker?
not out here any longer than if I was on my old route or on this route. It's the same
Let's go.
amount of time. So there's
great,
no
good
reason why it should be draining. All right, superstar.
Before I forget, Jeffrey, 1 December, negative attitude, victim, church, Afghanistan.
December was the only one that stood out to me. You said Jeffrey, though. So I'm going to write that one down just because I don't know who that is. Alright, we need to see what's going on with Leah and Becky's device. We can probably wrap this up now that I know, like, something's definitely draining that battery on that camera.
Yeah, that's
Every
what I was
device
looking at.
gets
Like
full
I was,
batteries or a recharged battery every single day. Every day. Whether I use the device or not. Doesn't matter. I put new batteries on everything. No reason for that thing to be flickering.
yeah, no longer goes really. I've only
got
filming,
it
you know, at the
better.
locations, not like everywhere else. So.
Would you get anything?
49.8 just in.
Wow, you got to be fine.
Yeah. It's all over the place.
Wow.
Hot hit. What happened? I walked over here. See it blink?
Did you show him?
When I walked over here, I stood beside him, and we stood
Where
here.
at?
He had a spike at 50 something. When he did, my camera started flickering.
It's still doing it.
Yeah, it's down my back.
Didn't kick out?
It's going to cook off. My battery's not there.
Something drained your
Yeah,
battery?
when I walked right over here. It hadn't done it all night long, but get up here. Did you get anything left? You get any names? You're not getting that. You listen to something.
Okay.
You just listen.
I thought I heard Magnolia. Magnolia?
You're in Charleston. Magnolia's right.
Oh, that's true.
but I'm going to see if there's a tie to Magnolia Gardens in any way, shape, or form.
I know John Clark, are they?
I don't know. Alright, let me wrap everybody over. Let's go over to that fence over
All
there,
right.
so that way your light
Let's
doesn't...
walk over here. I'll walk close to you so I can listen.
Come on over, Matt. Definitely not.
Could be a new death, maybe.
It could be, again, it could be a... I can't tell you how many monuments are in here.
I heard something about Jay. I can't hear him.
But I want to say somebody had the word suicide here last week. I can't
Oh, I
recall.
just got a yellow. Blip. Will we buy something?
Yes and no. I mean, we got the lamppost
There's
right
a
there.
lamp there.
Here's what I'm stoked about. Becky, you got anything coming up?
There was some floods on like days and there was fire or something. It's like some of the words were coming through from these.
A little quicker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll have to definitely take a look at those. You guys gave me a handful of names. We have like Jeffrey that came up, Davis, Williams, like all of these names that I don't know who they are. I'm just going to be honest. Let me give you the answers to this, the questions I did give you. Henry Timrod was born in 1829. That was one of the first things that we heard when we came here. We walked into the space and somebody heard the year 1829. I went, okay, I don't know what that is. And then we heard Henry. And then Tim showed up on the word list. So we had Henry and Tim at a Timrod and 1829. That's when I was like, okay, I guess we're going to be dealing with Henry Timrod. His son's name was Willie. That's what he called him. He was only 9 months old. He was born on Christmas Eve. Died in October. So we did get December, but nobody gave me the number 24. So it doesn't mean that it's not there. Again, it might show up on, your recording tomorrow. I'm stoked about Chris's readings. We talked about all those EMF readings earlier, and basically what they mean. He's seen that thing go all the way up to, was it 64? Was the highest number? Mm-hmm. We had a couple of 50s, couple of 40s, 64 is high, guys. So I took him to the exact same spot where we had it going pretty much ape shit one night and nothing the next night. And then I tested the light. So do you guys all see his light that's flickering? Mm-hmm. So it was perfectly fine when we were talking on that side. Mm-hmm. That same night that we were getting all of those really crazy numbers showing up on Chris's device, that same light started flickering at that location. So something's draining that battery. What I will tell you is that every device you're holding either gets recharged and plugged in and doesn't get unplugged until I go out to the next tour. If it takes batteries, it gets a fully recharged battery every single day, whether I used it the night before or not, to kind of eliminate shit like this. Because I'm not the guy where I'm going to drain everything and say, look, all of your stuff's draining, we got to go home. I'm not that guy. I'm sure you guys picked up on that really quick. So I hate to say it, but I'm excited that this has been inconsistent. So again, I'll kind of maybe make note of the date of that tour where we had those high readings. That way you guys can compare them. But here's what your analysis is going to look like before I start collecting your devices, because Brooke wants to take that damn thing home. So your analysis tomorrow, some of you were asking about my own investigations. That's in my podcast. That's going to be at the top of your data page, because everybody asks. I'm not here for self-promotion. You guys already came out and see what I'm about. But if you want to hear about other Ghost Hunting 101 stuff and the locations I've been that aren't in Charleston, it's all in that podcast. Below that, obviously you're going to see the hoodie I'm wearing because my wife designs everything and I have to promote. I went ghost hunting in Charleston, South Carolina. Below that, your tours are actually set up by month. Your data will stay on my website for an entire year. So if you want to go back and look at another date, if I had a tour that night, it'll be up there. As long as it wasn't raining or something crazy happened, that kind of thing. So again, I don't hide anything. It's all up there for speculation. Remember, I only spot check all of your media. So for every 5 to 7 minutes worth of media, I listen or watch for 1 minute. As far as cameras go, I mute them. The reason why is I want to focus on the visuals. The other reason is I used to hand it to the skeptic all the time, and they say some really nasty shit about me. Oh yeah, I was like, I'm going to stop listening to these. This is bad. So if you guys hear EVPs out of those, you'll have to get a hold of me. I will give you my card so you have my email and my phone number. But all of your media at the top will actually tell you the conditions of what's going on. So I keep track of the temperature, your moon phase, how many people were on, which devices we used, and then below that is a link to a field guide. So if you didn't have a spirit box like Brooke and Leah, the field guide will tell you exactly how to listen to it. If you didn't have the thermal, it goes literally by every piece in my toolkit. So that way you know exactly what you're looking for, what you're listening for, and there's paranormal examples in there. So I did show Calvin some like orbs that I caught with his camera. Those videos are on that field guide page, so that way you guys have a gist of what to look for. But again, that field guide, it's just something extra. It's just one of those pieces, like if you're not sure, check the field guide. If you have questions, you have my phone number, you'll have my email. That's what I'm here for. I'm your new Zach Bagans, only I'm not going to lie to you. That's the only thing. I'm pretty quick to answer emails and text messages. I'm sure you guys picked up on that pretty quickly. But this was a blast. Like, so other than
I don't know. I
trying
didn't get my text.
other than trying to get Matt to talk more, like that was half my battle tonight, was to get the Metallica guy over here to try to talk to me. And I think I piqued his interest with the Edgar Allan Poe story, so which is funny because I think that's what the other tour was talking about over there.
Yes, she was. I heard that.
And I was like, this is a weird space to be telling that story because it actually takes place 2 blocks that way.
Oh my
So again, check out Unitarian Church if you guys are going to be in town for a day or two. It's not always open to the public, but just take a peek inside and see what an overgrown cemetery looks like. It's gorgeous. It really, really is. It's an interesting story. And if you guys aren't sure of that story, listen to your audio. It'll be on there. I'm going to stop the audio, speaking of which. That'll kind of give me a gist of how much data you're going to get back.